We have more breaking news tonight. President Obama has signed into law legislation restoring death benefit payments to families of soldiers killed in the line of duty, including those who have died since the government shutdown. Earlier today, the Senate followed the House's lead and passed that bill by unanimous consent. At least 5 families of soldiers killed last weekend in Afghanistan were affected by the suspension of those benefits, which the Fisher House Foundation had been prepared to pay. Tonight's decision to restore death benefits still does not help the more than 5 million veterans across the country who may not receive their benefits checks on November 1st if the shutdown were to continue that long. That's $6.25 billion in payments. Veterans Affairs Secretary Eric Shinseki testified before a House hearing yesterday that if the shutdown continues, he would have to furlough more of his staff, including a number of veterans.
I have veterans myself that I employ, a third, over 100,000 veterans. A number of them are going to be subject to furlough. And so if they are furloughed and they're also recipients of disability checks, their resources go to zero.
Joining me now, Iraq War veteran Congresswoman Tammy Duckworth. She is also a former Assistant Secretary of Veterans Affairs. Let's listen to this ad by VoteVet.org.
Republicans in Congress say that their government shutdown is an epic battle. I was in 6 epic battles fighting the Nazis. Congressman, your shutdown is not an epic battle. It is bad governance. Americans and American veterans like me depend upon the entire government being open. I served this nation with honor. Today, I can't say the same about most Republicans in Congress.
Congresswoman, I've always imagined that it has to be kind of infuriating, and I'm amazed at your poise in processing it when these members of Congress who would never even consider joining the military at any point in their lives themselves get up there and give these very militaristic-sounding descriptions of what it is they're doing in their nice air-conditioned offices. And we saw that veteran in that ad. It's obviously pretty infuriating to him.
Oh, I am every day am appalled at the conduct of the people here in Washington, especially those who hide behind their, American flag pins on their lapel. I mean, at the end of his long speech, Senator Ted Cruz, in thanking the Senate staffers after his 21 hours, actually said to them, comparing what he did to the Baton's Death March by saying, thank you so much for being with me on this Baton Death March. Let me tell you, I've met survivors of the Baton Death March, both men and women, and what Senator Cruz did in trying to stop government was no Baton Death March. So this type of rhetoric does not help anyone. My colleague from Ohio, Brad Weintraub, did a floor speech on Friday, which I applaud, which called for a ratcheting down of this rhetoric. Brad Weintraub is an Army surgeon and a Republican. He and I co-chair the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans Caucus, and we need to cut out the military talk and let's get back to work and get open government back up again.
What are the kinds of things that Ted Cruz would have known that he was stopping if he actually knew anything about Veterans Affairs?
Well, if he knew anything, he would realize that if you stop funding for food stamps, you're stopping funding for a lot of military families that rely on food stamps. We have tens of thousands of military men and women and retirees and veterans who depend on food stamps. When you cut funding for SNAP, you are cutting funding for for our military men and women. When you cut funding for the Department of Veterans Affairs, you're cutting everything from the internments of our heroes, who are being laid to rest on our national cemeteries and not being laid to rest in as timely a manner. Even those of us who are receiving benefits up through the end of the month, that will end. There's so much going on in government. I'm worried right now about non-medical attendant pay. This is the pay that we provide to family members who take care of our wounded warriors at places like Brooke Army National Medical Center and Walter Reed National Medical Center. The family members who are helping our wounded warriors recover get a small stipend for giving up their jobs and moving to go take care of those folks. That may now be in jeopardy. There's a lot there.
Congresswoman Tammy Duckworth, thank you for your service and thanks for joining us tonight.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.